Hey guys, this video is going to be about the basics of genetics and a lot of the terms that we use for genetics. So the very first thing I want you to do is to have out a piece of paper or whiteboard, and I want you to try to describe the terms that we currently have on the screen. So pause the video and make an attempt to try to describe these terms. All right, so you should have paused the video and tried to describe the terms. Let's go over each one of these. All right, so what we see here in this image is we see a pair of homologous chromosomes. They're homologous because they have the same genes on them, okay? So we have three genes, P, A, and B, okay? Now, genes have different variants or variations. What we call different variants or variations is alleles, okay? So here we see a capital B, and here we see a lowercase b. Those are alleles of one another. There are different versions of that gene. So for example, if B was for eye color, maybe big B would be for brown eyes and the lowercase b would be for blue eyes. So it's just a different variation. Now the way that we start to describe all of the genes, the genes together is called a genotype. So if we describe both alleles for P, we would say capital P, capital P. For A, we would say lowercase a, and for B, it'd be capital B, lowercase b. So those are the genotypes, which is all the combinations of alleles for the specific gene. Now, another way we can describe this is by using the words homozygous or heterozygous. The word homo means the same. So if they have the same allele in their genotype, we would describe that as homozygous. So here we can see two capital P's. That's homozygous. Gene A would also be considered homozygous for its genotype because they're both the same. They're both lowercase. Now the genotype for gene B would be considered to be heterozygous because we have two different alleles. We have a capital B and a lowercase b. So the word hetero means different. We have two different alleles. Now finally, the last thing that we're going to use to describe here is the words dominant and recessive when we talk about alleles. A capital letter is considered to be dominant, and a lowercase letter is considered to be recessive. A dominant trait always shows over a recessive trait. Let's talk about what we mean by shows. The next thing we're going to talk about is an additional word called phenotype. Phenotype is the outward appearance of the organism. What trait actually shows up? We like to say phenotype is what you would see in a photograph. So if you look at a photograph of a plant, what do you see? Those are its phenotypes. So let's say, for example, we take this plant here on the left. Its genotype is big T, little t, and what these stand for is for plant height, and the capital dominant T stands for tall plants, and the lowercase smaller t, that's recessive, for short or dwarf. So you can see here that this one is considered to be heterozygous because it's two different, right? But only the tall, the big T, only the tall shows in the phenotype. The dwarf does not show. Let's take a look at the example on the right. For the example on the right, we see the genotype is homozygous recessive. Homozygous because they are the same, recessive because they're both small. We know that little t stands for short. We have two shorts, so the only thing that could show is short or dwarf as the phenotype of the plant. Okay, now this is a lot of maybe new words for some of you or kind of rehashing some of these terms for you guys. What I suggest is that if you did not do well going over the words on your initial try, rewatch the video, try to go back through the words on your own and see how well you can describe those terms and do this again. You want to make sure you understand all of those terms and have a solid foundation of what they mean.